Just is what it is. Now, having said that, I will say that I wasn't as extreme as other black Americans because I very much believe that, hey, if you do a crime, right, if you're doing some crazy criminal activity and you're here illegally, absolutely, get you out of here, bro. Get the boot, sayonara, take care. But if you've been here like 10 plus years, you don't have any criminal history, bro, and you have a consistent, stable job, why would I boot you? You've shown that you can assimilate, in this country. You've shown you can be a member of society, a productive member of society. Why would I give you the boot? Nah, I'm going to give you a pathway to citizenship. That was my argument. And that was very much Kamala Harris' argument. I don't have a problem with that. Like, it is what it is. Many people, didn't agree with that. No, you got to get out of here. You all got to get out of here. And I think some black people were led astray because they believed that upon them getting the boot, that somehow that was going to open up the jobs for black people. Now, I don't know how you get to that outcome if you believe the country is systemically racist, okay? Systemically racist against us. So I don't know how the country would do something for our benefit because historically speaking, I don't recall that really happened, okay? Post, as I said, civil rights. I don't recall that, okay? In addition to that, I've always said black people aren't going to do those jobs. It just is what it is. And, being here in this country, we've gone assimilated very, very well. And our ego is just, we're not going to do that. We ain't going to pick cotton. We ain't going to do anything that is even close to picking cotton. We ain't going to pick berries. We ain't going to pick watermelon. We ain't going to pick seeds. It's just not going to happen, all right? And especially not at the rates that y'all were charging them.
He's out of line, but he's right.
It's just not going to happen. So you had two options. Either you're going to raise the rates. I will pick a strawberry for, $40 an hour, $50 an hour. But then now we can talk, okay? More than likely, due to the system of capitalism, that's not how capitalism works, fam. And I think there was a lot of white ignorance, along with the black ignorance, who got. Because that's not what was the plan ever. That was never the plan. And recently, as we can see, Trump had to stop deporting many of them because, as I said, they're so integral to the country that you can't do that without completely crashing the economy. Damn. He stopped deporting immigrants in certain sectors. What they would do and what they have shown to do is automate. So before they give, your black butt a job, they're going to automate, bro. They're going to bring in, beep, bop, beep, boop, beep, bop. That's what's going to happen. I also mentioned when it came to the H-1B visas, because certain individuals with a higher education, they believe that, they're going to go untouched by, immigration and everything. And that's not happening because much of the H-1B visas, they're bringing them over to Apple. They're bringing them over to Tesla. That's why Elon was against, deportations and everything, because they're in those companies. That's how there's like a significant brain drain in many of these other countries because we take them and bring them over here. That's why many of the elites and the rich were concerned about this because that affects their pockets.
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions.
This now leads us to present day. And Trump has come out and talked about, hey, we got a lot of bad, hombres here. And we got to get them out of here.
I'd like to say it, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less. We have a lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen.
And I think most people are like, okay, yeah, sure, bet. I completely understand, get them out of here. But then he goes on to say, and he's like, it may be controversial, but I don't care. But we also have a lot of bad people who were born here.
But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here, too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together.
Now, if from my calculations, if they're correct, carry the 1 over the 0 and then the 2, I think he means citizens. That's what I think he means, because that's the only people who are born here, okay, that we've been here for quite some time. And when you start mentioning criminals, because I started listening to what he was saying, talking about, you get pushed over by into a subway and everything. I'm like, where is he getting this from?
But I think getting them out, we forget about them. We had some bad accidents in New York. And they're not accidents. that were done very much on purpose. People being pushed into a subway just before it arrives, going 40 miles an hour, and they're 10 feet away from where the thing is. You get pushed right into the face of the subway train, get whacked and killed. These are sick people. I'd like to get them out of here too.
And then I check it out. I'm like, oh, this is an actual story. Apparently, there was a black man who pushed somebody into the subway, and they were, gravely injured. I'm like, that's interesting. Now, aside from that story, who on God's green earth do you believe that they're talking to in the United States of America, or they're talking about when referencing criminals? Okay, I'll give you some time. Black people. That's who they're talking about. Us. That's what they're talking about.
Wake up, nigga.
To be more specific, black and brown. Okay, that's what but they already have their way for the brown because that's thanks to ICE and deportation. But now they had a problem with the black people because one thing they didn't want is black people. They're like, oh man, goodness gracious, y'all are here. We got no way to get y'all out. So what we're gonna do is incarcerate y'all. That's what they did. Now they're talking about, well, now we got to figure out a way to get y'all up out of here. Because the goal, you have to understand the goal, Stephen Miller and the racists that he has in his cabinet is an all-white society. It's an all-white country. They want to go back to like way back in the Naturalization Acts. Because if you read the naturalization laws and stuff like that, it was for white citizens. That's what they want to go back to. That's what their white ignorant base wants to go back to. Now, do I think that they'll be able to survive? No, because racism it's like work for a worker bee. You ever know that you put a worker bee and you give it nothing to do, it'll die. That's what will happen.